Hello, I'm Simon Carter from FeildenCleggBradley Architects. We're doing a number of projects in Ireland currently, and we've been working on the central quad, which you may have seen is the most advanced of the three proposals here. We're on site, as Paul said, currently going hell for leather trying to get the building built, proposed to be complete in May next year. And if you go and see it at the moment, and you'll obviously have it's not it's just over there, the facade is about 3/4 complete and the roof is on. So you're getting a pretty good idea already of what the final form of our building is going to be, what it's going to be. It's a PPP project, which is it's quite unusual for it's the only one of the three buildings being procured in that way. We've been working with our partner architects, AHR, who have been designing the East Quad, which is just below the clock tower, which is the performing arts building, which is being built by the same contractor, which is a joint venture between CISC, who are Dublin-based, and FCC, who are a large Spanish contractor. We're really excited about this opportunity to work with artists to integrate the art into the building. There's plenty of opportunities, even though the building is at a fairly advanced stage of design and completion. There's plenty of opportunities. I'm going to try and describe to you, without being, we're quite controlling as architects, but I'm going to try not to be too prescriptive about where we would see the opportunities to be within the scheme. I think, as Paul, did you mention the master plan? The guiding, the strong guide for the design of the central quad has been the master plan for the whole campus, which was developed in 2007. That was then adopted as part of the SDZ, Special Strategic Development Zone, for planning purposes. And so that was quite prescriptive in terms of the way the building should be, the form of the building and how it should be configured. So I was just going to quickly run through some of the ordering principles of the building here. And typical architects, whenever we're asked to build a building within a master plan, we think, right, we'll rip up the master plan, and they haven't got that master plan right. But in this case, we have the building is ordered pretty strictly according to the principles of the master plan. So just running through a few of them. The building is a quadrangle. It's called the central quad because it is based around a quadrangle. Trees and retention of trees is an incredibly important part of the scheme. There are three major retained trees. There's two, it looks like a pear, but it's actually a single, very large holm oak tree on the northeast corner of the site. There is a magnificent copper beech tree, which we've managed to keep alive throughout all the most difficult bits of the build so far, which will be in the middle of the quadrangle, and I'll show you some pictures of this later. And then there are various trees to be planted in the green fingers around the sides of the site. We've been working very closely with the future plan buildings and planning our building in relation to the future buildings, the library building, which O'Donnell and Toomey are designing, the sports fields to the south, and the other buildings, the primary care building, which we've already talked about. There's the green fingers, which are very important. You've got the main St Brendan's Way, which is the main pedestrian movement route to the south of our building, which runs all the way down to here. And then we've got two green fingers, which are defined in the master plan at the east and the west of our building. And I think there is already a proposal for an art installation on the eastern green finger somewhere here, the exact location to be, by Garrett Phelan, exact location to be defined. Trees and planting, as I say, very important. Connectivity, movement through the quad is really important. It's not designed to be your typical Oxbridge quad, which is closed, contemplative. It's an academic space, but it's designed to be very much accessible and moved through as a secondary route. So there you can meander through the quad, and hopefully the building is fairly permeable as well to the public in working hours. Just running through the ordering principles, I can probably make this one a bit bigger. So the building is, there's a lot of, we're moving lots of faculties onto this site. So the schedule of the programme for all the labs, workshops and general teaching spaces pretty much fills the site. And we're about 6 stories tall at the highest part of the building and 5 stories generally. So we're working right up to our site boundaries, which is not quite regular. We then have very strong defined edges, which the facade design is based around. We then create a central quad space, which actually is almost a perfect square. We then create these key links through to the master plan for connectivity. The retained trees, the building has actually been designed and planned around these 3 key retained trees. One of the trees actually didn't quite make it. I didn't get to mention that, but that is a tree that's going to be replanted at the entrance to the quad from the southwest corner. And then there are restrictions on height as well. So this is ordering principles about movement through the quad and also through the building. We've got a very large central atrium, lobby and communal space that is designed to be almost as permeable as the outside of the building. This is just a few diagrams looking at the ordering principles in relation to the neighbouring buildings on the master plan. The blue buildings in green showing the buildings that are already well established here. I might just zoom in a little bit. So the building is arranged in 2 wings. It has a major L-shaped north and westerly wing, which generally has laboratories, workshops and general teaching spaces. This building, will, as the central quad, will accommodate all the large general teaching spaces. So there's a 250-seat lecture theatre and a series of tiered and flat floor 150-seat general teaching lecture theatre spaces. So they'll be pulling in students from all over the campus to come for their lectures. Then there in the east wing we have the School for Optometry, National Optometry Centre, and that's clinical space. So that's bringing, as well as teaching, they'll be bringing in clinical patients into the building. So it's a publicly accessible building as well as just being for students. Then at the ends of each wing, on the upper floors, we have staff, academic staff accommodation, which is in the form of cellular and open plan office space. The building's based around the ordering principles. Obviously, it needs to be a secure building. So there's degrees of levels of permeability and access. So that the lighter blue, the general teaching spaces, are generally as open and accessible as possible. And the building's designed based around a series of thresholds and sort of degrees of thresholds. So by the time you get down to the thresholds here, into the dark blue spaces, which are the staff spaces, that's relatively private space for the staff and for students to visit the lecturers and academics. But there's various degrees of sort of intermediate levels of access. But the lobby and the main entrance space is designed to be very open, welcoming and permeable. So trying to illustrate this I'm going right back to a presentation that I did to Paul when we bid for the scheme, because it explains the principles. It's about the building is about a series of it's designed to be an experiential movement around the building. So the approach to the facades, the quad itself, and I'll just get onto the facades very quickly. The faculties, very, very complex adjacencies you're bringing together. The College of Arts and Tourism, College of Sciences and Health, which is mainly laboratories, the College of Engineering and Built Environment, which is workshops and laboratories. There's lots of distributed learning commons, but there's been a huge change in university education with a move much more towards informal learning rather than didactic learning in classrooms. So we've tried to distribute these sort of very informal spaces all the way around the building. These are the types of spaces. So the building is categorised into specialised learning spaces. So we've got some very specialised spaces like kitchens, and where bakery and teaching kitchens. lecture theatres, and then also informal learning spaces. So there's lots of these little nooks, and depending on whether you're shy and want somewhere much quiet to study, or you're happy to study in a big group where there's much more hustle and bustle going on, there are options for that around the building. This is a landscape plan, just to show you. This is a ground floor plan showing the arrangement of the building. And what I'm going to do now quickly is try and obviously you're welcome to walk around the outside and you'll get a very good idea, but we've done a series of panoramas which are available online if you need to get to them. This is a view, and hopefully you can see this. This is a view from the quad, within the quad itself. So you can see this is a not very good representation of the copper beech tree. You can see there's a colonnade which runs in a very collegiate style, that runs all the way around the three closed sides of the quad. There's a cafe terrace. It's designed to be very collegiate, and this is the most serious academic building on the campus for TUD. So it's designed to be. This is a fairly open grass lawn space that's all set around the tree, really. There's definitely opportunities here, we would say, for art to be integrated into this space. This is a view looking up the main central atrium. So you can see it's quite vertiginous. It's about 6 meters wide, but it's 6 stories tall, and it's about the length of a football pitch. So you can see there's this very, very long processional accommodation stair that runs the full length of the building, linking all the floors from ground and down to the basement. So there's a basement with all the lots of the large lecture theatres and kitchens in it. But that stair then runs in a line all the way up the building, up to the 6th story. So there's definitely opportunity within this atrium for to do something. That at the end, and then I think I've got another one. This is the main lobby space. So this is just as you come off the quad through the double doors, the revolving doors here, into this sort of lobby. And it's designed not to just be an inert lobby. Hopefully it's going to be a real demonstration space for TUD to advertise the teaching and the courses that happen here. So you can see there is a, I haven't got a view of this, but just behind, this is a concrete lift shaft which runs the full height, 6-story height of the building. And on the rear of that wall, there is it's completely fair-face concrete. And we're big fans of fair-face concrete. There's lots of exposed concrete within this building, and there are definitely opportunities. So it's a very robust, but simple structure. There's acoustic. These are acoustic baffles suspended to the ceiling to give decent acoustics for teaching within this space. So that's a very quick overview of the building. And if you've got any questions on any of the detail of that, we can come back to that.